Welcome to Bedford County Sports Talk Live, hosted by David Thomas, Bill Anderson, and Kenny Parker. Brought to you by First Bank of Shelbyville. And Kincaid's Service Company. Let's talk some sports. Here are your hosts, David Thomas, Bill Anderson, and Kenny Parker.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Bedford County Sports Talk Live here on Shelbyville Now. It is October the 12th, and man, it cooled off, and it feels like fall, guys. Finally feels like football season.
Can you believe 3/4 of the season is almost gone?
I know. It's gone by fast, guys.
It always does.
Well, we had three county teams in action last night. Cascade had their bye week. Before we dive into these games individually, let's hear from our sponsor, First Bank and Kincaid
Service Company.
We'll be right back to dive into these scores.
This company is a locally owned family business that has proudly served the Middle Tennessee area since 1934. We have a wide selection of furniture, appliances, electronics, and mattresses for every budget and design taste. We carry the brands that you know and trust, so you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Need financing? We have you covered. With our service department, you can rest assured that we will take care of you after the purchase. Visit our Shelbyville store at 400 Madison Street today.
All right, guys, we had three county teams in action last night. We had Webb. Kenny, you were at the Webb game. It was turned into a shootout.
Man, I tell you what, 67-50. Webb really impressed me. Their quarterback threw the ball well. Had about four receivers that caught it well. Running back played, and Davidson Academy had a kid, number one, that's a special athlete. But you want to see offense?
They
was there last night, and it was a good game, good ball, good, fun game to watch.
So big win for Webb.
You know, Lincoln County's only losses come to who?
Davidson County. Yeah,
Davidson Academy beat Lincoln County earlier in the year.
Did they?
Sure did.
You know, I was talking to Jason Baker, who's helping at Webb this year. I think he said he wasn't 100%, but this may qualify Webb for the playoffs, and it was their first win in this AA Big Power district. So big win for them. Puts them over 500. I believe they're like 4-3.
Yeah.
So big win for Webb.
Well, last night community had a rough time with Sequatchie County.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't as bad as I was afraid it was going to be. Honest, it's 48-6. And it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
I think it's 42-0 at halftime.
Yeah,
it's just been a rough year.
Yeah, all those young players and
Sequatchie can play. They can play.
And it's hard. It's hard to have a team on the field and be competitive when it's constantly rotating. And when you got kids leaving and coming and going that's not been there the whole time, it's just tough. I mean, you're starting over every week, it seems like.
Yep.
And that's a difficult situation. So Sequatchie County, what was the final score?
48-6.
48-6. Well, Shelbyville Central went to Spring Hill. Actually, they went to Battle Creek High School, which is an awesome facility, guys. It's sitting in the middle of a neighborhood.
So it's not the old Spring Hill High School?
Well, we played at not Spring Hill High School.
Spring Hill's working on their stadium, so they're playing all their home games at Battle Creek this year. While the
Battle Creek has just a JV team at the moment.
It's a new school,
so they don't have varsity.
Because I was going to say, where's that? I never heard of it.
It's just right in the middle of Spring Hill, right in the middle of a neighborhood, actually.
Right.
Awesome facility. They have artificial turf.
Wow.
I mean, everything is brand new, and it's just one of the few games that's been played on it. We got to play on it last night, and Shelbyville came out, lost the toss, got the ball, went down the field, scored, and the rest is history. Bill,
it sounded like it was probably the best the offensive line had played in terms of listening. I had to listen on the radio because for whatever reason it wasn't on the NHFS last night.
Well, that's probably that new facility.
No, all the other games have been there.
Yeah, Spring Hill's been doing it, but they must have had to bring their equipment over. And I'll tell you this: I tried to talk to you on the phone once, and I couldn't hear you. The signal was terrible.
I think
we tried to talk.
And it was really bad.
And that may be why the signal.
They might have been trying, but if you ain't got a signal, you got to have a really strong signal to do this video streaming. So I'm gonna say that. But back to the line play. Yeah, Sheffield Central line pushed them 10 yards down the field every play.
That's what we talked about, getting that shove.
And they were just outmanned. I mean, they was just I don't understand how Columbia only put up 21 points on them. It's mind-boggling to me. The Columbia team that played us should have beat Spring Hill very similar to the way we,
Right.
I mean, it was.
Bottom line, though, is a lot of those Columbia kids back at that shovel game have not played since that
No, they
game.
hadn't. And some of them that's on the field ain't played either.
No.
But Robert Bailey had 16 carries, 168 yards, and 3 touchdowns. 16 carries is a light load for Robert. He's used to carrying a lot more, but the game's over in the first half. Nate Zimmerman gets to come in.
That was good.
Yeah,
that was
Nate got 11 carries. He scored 3 touchdowns.
He's just sophomore too,
right? Got 78 yards rushing. And then you had Steven. He carried about 4 times last night. He had 31 yards. And then
how was he running?
fine. He looked like he's fine.
He looked good.
And he passed 8 of 15 for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. LeBron Ransom had a big touchdown catch. And I think he's 100% recovered with his hamstring because he turned it on when he caught the ball and got it to the end zone. So you saw that extra gear that we know he's got. Mm-hmm. He's ready for playoffs, guys. But defense played outstanding. I mean, they were all over the field. They would probably had.
I think Spring Hill had 45 total yards.
I think we had 12 to 15 tackles behind a lot of scrimmage. Their quarterback, I felt sorry for them. But their line play is just, it's like I think they've just kind of tossed it in. And unfortunate because that Spring Hill Columbia game, they looked scrappy. They looked like they were going to be fighting, but I don't know if we just hit them hard, fast, and that was it for them.
They go into the ball game. I'm just telling you from having been around, hoping, and then they get hit in the mouth as quick as they did, and this is all over with.
That's why it's important with a team like that, like we talked about. That keeps the game show. You got to get out quick.
You can't let them get
Columbia
any kind of confidence,
and they gave them some confidence because Columbia came out flat.
You can't let them have confidence. You got to stomp the bug.
Well, that was over fast.
Mm-hmm.
They got 3 doses, 3 carries of Robert Bailey, and it was over.
That's what you got to do. As a good team, you don't play to your competition; you play to yourself, and that sounds like what Sheffield did.
First 3 plays, he had a 7-yard run, a 30-yard run, 31-yard run, and a 10-yard run, and absolutely ran through people.
Right.
2 of them touchdowns?
No, no, it was on that first drive.
Okay,
but he ran through people.
Gotcha.
And I just demoralized him.
Mm-hmm.
But another outstanding performance by Robert. Good to see Nate get in and play like that and get those reps. They're going to be important down the stretch here.
I agree
wholeheartedly.
So, Bill, you were listening to the game. Did you see anything that jumped out at you that was different?
Like I said, it just sounded like the offensive line finally dominated, which I don't think they had dominated this year like they did last night. Defensive line, we knew what was going to happen. You better get rid of that football if you're going to throw it. You got about 2 seconds last night, not 3.5. Like I said, you had to get rid of it. Yeah, we're on you.
I know we kicked off the second half, and it was like a pooch kick and recovery, and that was miscommunication. That was not intentional. We were up 41-7, and I was sitting there listening to Coach Dryden. They said, that looks bad. We didn't mean to do that. I mean, that's not what we were supposed to do there.
And it still looks bad, and it's still going to be there.
And I know Coach Dryden apologized to the other coach. It was just miscommunication.
We know Coach Dryden, he's not going to.
No.
That's not in his.
Let's work on kickoff coverage, guys.
Oh, yeah. Ben Betzelberger had to say.
Work on it.
He made 3 tackles on kickoff return.
Because when you get into the playoffs or get into the Lincoln County Tullahoma games,
that's touchdowns.
You can't have that. You're going to have to start putting starters in on special teams.
Against Franklin County, we had one that almost got away from us.
You got to have a fine. You don't want to put over starters, but you need to mix them up some because you got some starters, some skill position starters that are playing both sides of the ball.
Sure.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you got the guys that you're facing on that kickoff team. They've got their best athletes out there. I know we've got our best athletes out there returning the ball. You're going to have to stop that. You got
to have speed, too. Someone with speed that can hawk somebody down if they get through.
I agree to disagree with both of you.
Okay.
I agree. I had a coach tell me years ago that there's times in the games where you want your best out there, and there's times in the games where you need to get some people out there for experience.
Right. And I don't
score was 57-7.
Right.
You don't need your best out there taking a chance on getting hurt, like what happened to us in preseason when we got our running back hurt in the Rockville scrimmage.
Right.
We're up that big. We don't need to take that chance.
Would you agree though that when you're behind and you've scored a touchdown, you kicked off and you give up a touchdown because you ain't got the right person, it's a mistake?
That, like I said, there's got to
exactly.
There's got to be times.
Happened.
There's got to be times in the game where you get your best 11 on the field
on kickoff.
Any
exactly.
Every play is a play.
Right.
We don't disagree about it being 50 to the scores up. The problem is we're doing this
all
the game 0-0.
Yeah,
that's the problem with where we're at there.
Right,
it's nothing at the first. At the second half, I agree with you too.
And
however, if it's a competitive game early on, you need your best out there. It'll burn you against a good team.
Their best athlete was carrying the ball on the kickoffs last night, and he gashed us twice, almost 3 times. Okay, and I'm talking,
and that's when you said
70 yards, and our kicker had to hawk him down. Now I don't know if that's a mental mistake because of young players being on the field. Could be. Or I don't know if it's physical out manning. It could be a little bit of both. But I don't think we were in our lanes right. But those are little things right there that's going to wear you out when you go up against Lincoln County.
And little things that are coachable to help those players get better also.
Yeah, and it's a good place for them to get on the field.
Sure. Because
mix in 2 or 3.
Here's the thing. When you got those young players out there, they're eager. They're players. I guarantee you they're going to – those kids that you're talking about right now – are kids we're going to be talking about in 2 years.
Next year. Some of them next year.
All right.
I mean, we had freshmen out there. We had sophomores out there.
And they're wanting to do more than their job responsibility probably requires them to be. Like you said, getting out of the lanes.
Yeah. The losing containment was a big thing last night.
That's going to be
coachable. They got sucked to the middle of the field.
Right. It's got to be coachable. It's got to be worked.
Yeah. All right, great win though for Shelbyville. We're now Bill 6-1.
And that's
moving into Lawrence.
Yeah,
8 straight road games and senior night next week.
Last home game of the season next week.
Lawrence County.
And we'll talk more about this on the Judge Riding Show.
Yep.
Kenny, I know you got a report from Cascade Golf.
Yes.
What in the world happened?
You want to come back after break, or you want to
go right ahead?
Well, the Cascade girls golf team won the state. First time we talked about last week, first time they'd ever went to the state as a team, and they wound up winning the state by 10 strokes. It was a 2-day event. After the first day, they were up 4, and then they finished up by 10. They won over Stewart County. Took 3 girls. 3 of them had to play: Tashiana Green, Anna Clanton, and Sarah Kate Hall. All 3 of them seniors. Tashiana Green led Cascade at the state. She wound up 3rd overall. She was 1 stroke away from it being a 3-way tie for first, but she shot a 149, which is 9 over for 2 days. Gave her round up 3rd, and then Anna Clanton wound up 4th. She shot a 153 total for 2 days, which was 13 over. So those 2 young ladies, and then Sarah Kate Hall played. In girls, you play 3, and the 3rd one, her scores didn't count, but she had to play in case one of the other 2 got hurt. Then her scores would have went in. But I understand I didn't get her scores. She had a real successful, but first time ever to make it to the state and then to win the state the first time you've ever been there.
Yeah.
Now, Tashiana and Anna had played in the state before. Like I said earlier, last week, Tashiana, this was her 4th time to play in the state. The previous 3 were as individuals. In Clanton, I believe this was her 3rd time. The previous 2, so they had been there. Course a little different than what it was. This is a par 70 course, so it evidently is a little smaller. I don't know how it.
They had 2 more par 4s, and less par fives, probably is what they had.
Yeah. Big win for the program. First ever, I believe, for a team competition at Cascade. I'm not sure. I know their boys were successful golf team a few years ago. Band's been successful, but for the girls, first time ever. And then girls, Cascade soccer team plays host Tuesday night, first round of the region, 6 o'clock at Cascade Field on the football field, and I believe they're playing Richland. So if you get a chance, come out and support.
Okay, it sounds like to me that the girls' golf team's going to have a few scholarships there. A couple of them there.
There's I think the especially the top two.
Yeah.
Sarah Kate Hall, I believe she's going, but Tashiana Green and Anna Clanton, they can play.
That's a big deal.
They can
That's
play.
really good. Congratulations to those.
Yes, congratulations.
Cascades making a good showing there.
You know, guys, it was strange in football. There was hardly any games last night. Everybody was on bye.
Well, everybody's on fall break. And in Rutherford County, I know Rutherford County and some of the Sumner County and all, of course, they're all in the same route. When they all say, hey, when it's fall break, we're all taking our bye week that week. That's the week we're taking off. So you don't have to.
There you go.
You went to Coach T to look for scores.
There weren't
very many. That's right.
All right. Well, what scores do you have, Bill?
Very few games. Marshall County went to Montgomery Central, won 47-0. They stay undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Giles County beat Grundy County 49-8. Moore County beat Collinwood 27-14. And Marion County beat Forest 63-17.
Wow. I was shocked with that score.
63-17.
Yeah. They must be just.
Well, Sequatchie beat Marion.
Marion had lost like two or three in a row.
I know, but man, Forest.
Yeah, they turned it. I don't know.
Sounds like the defense took off last night.
Yeah.
You know, they had trouble with Gordonsville last week, too.
Well, I don't know if they had turnovers, if they got injuries. Or,
Well, that's a light schedule for sure.
Very light.
Well, guys, before we move on to college, let's talk about something that's just come out this past week, and that's the reclassification. We've gone through that process again, and there's several teams that's going to be hopping around.
Yeah,
it's
you know, the thing with the reclass, the numbers were totally different.
They changed the game.
Well, here's what they do. In football, there's 300 teams that play football in Tennessee.
Top 50.
Top 6, and they say they divide it evenly, whatever.
Yeah.
And the cutoff, and I'm just going to talk about the two that are for us, the ones that affect Cascade, the ones that affect Central. Cascade Community and Central.
Yeah.
In the 5, 6, 8, 3 years ago, the cutoff was 549. 549, you're 6A below that. This year, it was 486.
Not 6A.
5A,
6A, yes.
Oh.
That's 5A, 6A.
No, it's 500. The 5A, 6A is like 1,500 students.
That's what I meant.
Oh,
I meant 1549.
Yeah.
And 1486.
Okay. All right. I thought you was in
I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
Yeah, see that, a couple of years ago, Sheffield was like second largest 5A. And when they dropped that number down,
shot us at the bottom of the 6A.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's about 7 teams below you.
Yeah.
And for the Cascade Community region, it went from 541 to 528. Shovel's enrollment only they only gained 30 kids from the previous 2, but because the numbers dropped, that's what happened.
All right, well, let's talk about the ramifications of that.
Ooh.
Where do we end up? Are we going to end up with Rutherford County? Are we going to end up with Franklin area? Are we going to end up with the Plateau area? We're kind of in stuck.
Years ago, back before this last one,
we were playing Kenwood. We were playing who else?
Clarksville and all that. Were you having to go that way?
Yeah, we were. It's Mount Juliet, Hendersonville.
Yeah.
Kenwood. Up on the north side of Nashville. We bypass Rutherford. It won't.
But can somebody explain to me how Coffee County, according to the Tennessean, dropped to 5A, yet according to TSSAA, they did not? Which is
do what now?
According to the Tennessean, had it in the paper, that they had lost 600 kids, they had 1,200 kids, and they were 5A. That's what it says in the paper.
That's
TSSAA says it's 1696.
That's incorrect.
So the assumption is you're going to go to the region that has Riverdale, Blackman, Oakland, Rockvale, Siegel, Coffee County, Shelbyville. That's where you're going. I don't see any other way around it.
Very well could be.
Yeah. Because they have to make it 7 teams. Now, my problem with all this is twofold. The state of Tennessee has one less classification in football than the state of Texas.
Texas has 7.
Mm-hmm. Now, we ain't Texas.
And they got like 800 high schools.
But my thing is, when you look, to me, this was always about classification, about numbers. One thing that's not really right is to have a school with nearly 3,000 students playing a school with 1,400. That's not right. It's a safety issue almost.
Well, how do you alleviate that problem without just having one?
Why is the arbitrary number if you're going to have it this way? Why does it have to be 50? Why wouldn't it be by enrollment if we had 40 here, we had 60 here?
What it was is they're saying there's 300 teams.
And they're trying to make it even amount.
They're trying to put the same number of teams in 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A.
But there's a larger disparity in 6 than any other classification.
Don't
you
disagree.
You got basically your whole range from there down is all spread up and packed into 1 and 6.
Listen, I understand what it was. My last year at Cascade is the years that they decided 1A and 2A were going to play, 3A and 4A were going to play, 5A and 6A, and then we got the playoffs.
And you were in 3A, 4A?
I was in a 3A, 4A. We were the smallest school in 3A, 4A, and we had great athletes. I mean, we could have we had to play against Giles at CPA and all them, and CPA and Giles were both runner-up in the state that year. And we had to play against Page. We had to play Marshall County. We had to play Spring Hill. That was district. Our basketball team, same way. They got beat. Was probably one of the best basketball teams we had. They got beat at East Literate. So
I just think go back like we do basketball and baseball and just have 4 classifications and be done with it. That's what, if we're going to do it this way, we might as well do that.
Well, it's not ever going to go back that way because
the way you've done it, you got 2 and 8 and 1 and 9 teams still making the playoffs, which that should never happen. If you're not 500, you shouldn't go to the playoffs.
Right. Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
But it's about money. More games, more money.
Okay, in Alabama, their organization like TSSAA gives each school money back at the end of the year. What does this bunch do with the money they collect?
It's in a fund.
Doing what?
I don't know.
Sitting there.
Can't
For
answer.
what?
I don't know.
Future growth.
Growth of what?
I don't know. Good questions.
I mean, what do they do with the money? They seem to take the money. Now, what do you do with it to give back to the schools, the programs?
That would be a question you ask them. I can't answer that one.
We can speculate.
Yeah.
All right. So let me ask you this. What would be wrong with taking that top class and saying any school with 2,000 or more students, that's your top class?
That's what I thought it was designed to do.
If it's 12, so be it. If it's 20, so be it. And then deride the rest of them.
That would be the better way to do it. But if the arbitrary number of 50, let's say Kenny wants to play up, they'll let you come up.
Yeah,
then we're off the 50 mark. So is a 50 mark that important? Because we're going to let you play up. So now we're at 51, 52, 53.
They'll let you. And there was a handful of teams that in this last time we did it chose to play up because they didn't want to have to do all the traveling.
Yeah.
They wanted to stay and play some of the local teams.
You look at some of the rural areas where they have a county high school. The talent pool is slim to begin with, but that just because they're a county school and they don't have maybe but 1 or 2 high schools in their county, their numbers are automatically going to be inflated. And there's no way they're going to compete. They might jump into 5A, or some of them might jump from 2 to 4. Just very similar school to Cascade, let's say, and they just get piled in. They have nowhere else to go in the county. So, but you don't bring your talent level up. They're assuming just because you have a large number of kids, you have a larger talent pool.
Right.
But that's not necessarily the case in certain regions of the of the state. That needs to be in consideration.
All right, Coach Parker, get on this one. Did you know Pearl Cone is 2A if they want to be? 524.
Pearl Cone and East Literate both went from 3A to 2A.
I think they're going to play back up probably.
They will probably play back up.
524. Now, I remember the day when they were bigger than Shelbyville.
Whites Creek, same way.
They were huge.
Whites Creek, same way. I think Whites Creek's 3A.
That's unbelievable. You know,
I believe Whites Creek enrollment wise, would have them competing against Cascade Community and Forest. Forest, Forest is the smallest 3A school.
The community's second
And
smallest.
Community is one student more than Forest. So they are the smallest two 3A schools.
Now, does this shock anybody? Moore County only has 267 kids.
No, that's a small. I can tell you because I know how many buses they run.
All right, guys.
I know how many buses
we got to move on, but we're going to continue to talk about this as we see how these things play out and where we're going to end up. But it looks like Community and Cascade are going to be in the same region now.
Community, Cascade, Forest,
all that.
Yeah,
Watertown, Giles.
I think Cannon stays. Cannon's a 2A.
Cannon dropped. Giles,
too.
Giles will be in there.
Yeah, I think their football region will, they move.
And see, Giles
Cascade
County situation. That's another can of worms we could dig into and talk an hour about, but we won't. Let's move
but
on.
We sure could.
Yeah, we sure could. But we're going to come back after this
break.
break.
Bigger than Marshall County.
We're going to hear from First Bank. We'll be back talk a little college football. Some big games today.
South Carolina.
All right, back in here to talk a little college football. Guys, we got some interesting ball games today.
Got some real interesting games for a few teams after some demoralizing defeats last week. Will they bounce back?
All right. Speaking of which, let's just get out there and let's talk about it. Tennessee, Florida. What happens here? Does Tennessee bounce back?
When I'm listening to everybody on 104.5 yesterday talking about how Tennessee is going to win 41-10, and I mean, everyone said it. Let me say something, guys. Do you know in the last 19 times the two schools have played, Tennessee's won two of they're 2-17. When is the last time they really did blow Florida out? 1990.
Yeah,
out there
34 years ago.
In the rain.
I've said Tennessee has got a good football team, and I'm still saying they do. But the teams that they have beaten were non-SEC teams.
Except Oklahoma.
Except for Oklahoma. But
Tennessee's got problems on offense, guys. That offense, to me, it no longer has the tempo. And I remember the last couple of years, Heupel could scheme people. There were people wide open. I look up now, and I see him throwing screen, and just running it between the tackles. There's no imagination to it whatsoever.
There's a reason their offensive tackles aren't very good. Their two offensive tackles are the worst.
Well, you can still throw slants, and there's things you can do creatively to get rid of the football. I still see him holding it too long.
That's what the screens and stuff are, is to get rid of it.
You can get rid of it on a slant crosser over the middle for forward yardage instead of that pick six screen, I call it, where you throw it, where you throw it over here. I call it the pick six screen.
Is that the one Levis runs?
Yeah.
And
yeah. They throw it quite well.
And we threw it in that Arkansas game 5-6 times. If that play might work once or twice a game, it can't be the sole basis of your offense.
Well, what's the Todd Bobo line?
The Todd Bobo line is Tennessee's favorite. The line was down to 14. It's jumped back up to nearly 16 this morning. I just don't see Tennessee beating them by that. I don't see it. I don't see them being able to score enough. And as good as Tennessee is, and I bragged on defensively, they're so good in the D-line, rotating 8 and 10. If we don't get to the quarterback, we can't cover nobody.
There was pressure.
There was people wide open in the Arkansas
as
game.
good as Tennessee's quarterback is, he's still a freshman. He's still young. He's not
He
playing
is,
a
but
whole lot.
Arkansas, to me, the strength of them was their defensive tackles, and yet you're running right at them. Their weakness was they had one of the sorriest secondaries in the Southeastern Conference, and you never attacked it.
And they had a middle linebacker, Arkansas, that was after Tennessee.
And you had a defensive back, that's Slaughter, that had something to prove.
Yeah.
And he did. He was all over the field.
That's the one I was talking about.
Slaughter,
I thought he was a linebacker.
No, he's a strong safety, I believe he was. But you got that game. So you see Tennessee and winning, but not covering.
Yeah, I see this being a sloppy 2017, 23-20 tight ball game.
I don't know. I think Tennessee got their eyes woke up the other day. I really do.
I'm
thinking Florida could beat them. It's not going to play like they played last year.
We'll talk about this next week. But they got to get their stuff back in gear, just like It's
Fast.
like the next game, because there's a big game
Fast.
next week that's could have some major playoff implications on it.
I don't look for Tennessee being well.
You don't think they'll be one of the playoff teams?
No, I think Saturday
they're out. They're going to lose 3 or 4 games.
I agree wholeheartedly.
They're going to go to a bowl. That's where I think we're at. I think they got exposed last week, and now it's kind of like, well, this is the real Tennessee.
But it's not the same hyper offense of tempo, and nothing's the same. I don't know what's changed
that because his defense.
Yeah, he's also doing it too, and he's eating that clock up because he don't want to score fast, and he's taking the pressure off his defense. That sounds like to me, I don't know what it sounds like. It sounds like some of these high school teams that are trying to eat the clock, keep it away from the other team. Well, if my defense is that good, I want them on the field.
I think what he's doing, his strength of his team is his defense, and he's wanting to control the ball.
Maybe he should be in the spread
the game. Well, no. Why you change what he's doing? He's still good. Hey, we lose 1 ball game.
Yeah.
The season ain't over. You lose 1 ball game. Alabama gets beat by Vanderbilt. Season ain't over. You lost 1 ball game. Nobody. Tell me when
the
last time somebody won either the SEC championship or a national championship undefeated.
Both of these losses are going to burn Tennessee and Alabama both because they were unranked teams. But especially the Vanderbilt win will come back and haunt Bama.
It might, and it depends on how Vanderbilt finishes the year.
All right, Tony Sanders asked this question: is Tennessee quarterback that good? I'll say this: he's good against these cupcakes we've been playing, but when he's coming up against Arkansas and Oklahoma,
he's got to grow.
He's different.
He's got to grow.
He's different. He's not ready for that.
Peyton Manning was freshman. He was young, and he had struggles. He wasn't the Peyton Manning when he was young that he was when he was older.
Well, I think you could give him some routes and do some things to give him some confidence that I'm not seeing.
Yeah.
Slants, crossing routes, across the middle.
I think before this is over with, and if you keep this young man at quarterback,
he's our quarterback.
He's going to be one of your better ones.
But like you said, he's a freshman.
He's young.
All right, let's move to Alabama, South Carolina. You got a line on the Todd
Bobo line is 21.5, and Bama's going to be ticked, and I don't think so. I think South Carolina's in trouble.
South Carolina. Did I say Mississippi State? I meant
Mississippi
Georgia.
They got Georgia, and the line's 34 there.
That's going to be a route.
You would think so, but it is the SEC.
That's true. That's true.
Texas, Oklahoma, the Red River rivalry, the line's 14.
I think Texas blows past. I don't think Oklahoma's good as
I
they.
got a sneaking feeling Oklahoma can play with them a little while.
Oklahoma always plays with them.
Yeah, it's a rivalry. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're going to be up for that. So, who else you got, Bill?
You got Vanderbilt and Kentucky.
What's the
line? It's 13.5. Vanderbilt's catching 13.5. That's a lot of points.
Vandy's an underdog.
Yes.
13.5 points.
I'll take the overs.
And I take them to win the game.
I think they can win the game.
How impressive was that quarterback for Vanderbilt? He was a magician. He didn't know where the ball was.
I agree. Not just that, their play calling. There's times where it looks like Alabama is fixing to hit them on 3rd down.
Shuttle pass,
and the
ran right by, man.
Right up the middle, like
perfect setup,
like Moses parted the Red Sea. I mean, boom, there he goes.
And they had 2 receivers, 9 and 0, and one of them would not be denied. He kept breaking tackles and getting first downs with 3 on him and 4 dragging.
As an Alabama fan that I am, they just got whipped.
Yeah,
they got beat, and my wife and I are sitting there watching it, and she looks over at me and she says, I really hope Vanderbilt wins this game. I said, you know what? Vanderbilt deserves to win this game.
Yeah, they do.
I'm not going to be upset if Vanderbilt wins this game because they deserve to win it. They've outplayed them.
Yeah,
I think they outcoached them.
Yeah,
and
hats off. We talked about Clark Lee before, but hats off to him to say, I know defense. Go hire him an offensive guy, and then go get players and bring them in.
Sure, let him get.
I guarantee he didn't have a big. He's doing NIL.
Yeah,
I bet he didn't have a very big budget to do it.
No, they don't.
But they did a great job of identifying people that can play for them.
Yeah, and those guys that don't demand a big NIL that can still play ball.
Sure.
Yes.
And there's a lot of those players out there. And what did the quarterback say? If you want some more of them, go to New Mexico.
New Mexico State.
No, New Mexico.
Oh, just New Mexico. Okay. Well, he's got gut.
Yeah.
He's
hard, determined. And here's another thing, David. Who do you give the credit to?
The Lord.
The Lord.
Yep.
And he was.
And even when he was on college game day, he didn't change.
Yeah. Well, he's a good story for college football.
I agree.
Anything else?
Ole Miss LSU
All right.
at night in Baton Rouge, and LSU's getting 3.5.
I'm taking LSU in this one.
Wow.
I'm gonna take Ole Miss, and I'll tell you why. LSU's defense stinks. And I just think Ole Miss will outscore them, even in the dark, and even all. I'm telling you, I think Lane Kiffin will outscore them.
I'm taking LSU.
I'm going to take Ole Miss and push the points.
All right, the big game nationally: Ohio State, Oregon.
Ohio State, Oregon, at Oregon, and Oregon's catching 3.5 now. That surprises me that they're catching 3.5.
We're going to find out how good Ohio State is.
I agree.
We're going to learn
I
more
don't
about
think they've
them.
been tested yet.
I don't know
either. But
and Oregon's a tough place to play.
Yeah, it is.
It's loud.
I'm going to say Ohio State walks out of here as number one.
I'm going to take Oregon to upset them.
Okay. I'm going to say the performance that Ohio State has against Oregon, no matter what happens with Texas, I think that Ohio State will flip to number one after this game.
Not if they lose.
Well, no, they're going to lose.
They're going to lose.
Okay.
Penn State and
Honestly,
USC.
I don't like Ohio State.
Well, here's another one. Penn State, USC. 5.5's the line.
USC wins this game.
Really?
I sort of do too.
I don't think Penn State's. I mean, if you look at what Penn State's done, their past.
Yeah.
They start off like.
And then they
And
defensively,
they're good.
Well, they get that momentum. They play all these cupcakes at the first part of the year. That's what everybody does.
That's what they're all up there, except for about 3 or 4 teams.
Yeah.
They're all cupcakes.
Yeah.
Penn State's defense is good, but offensively, they don't impress me.
Yeah.
And if they ever get in a game where they've got to score, I don't know that they can.
USC probably going to beat them.
Now, USC just went to Minnesota last week, by the way, and laid an egg.
Yeah,
here's
true.
the thing. Went to.
Yeah.
Penn State is going to.
Did y'all
Transcontinental.
see where Franklin was complaining?
No, what was he complaining about?
He was upset because he said the airplane that you have to fly so you don't have to stop for fuel, it couldn't take off from the airport near Penn State. So he had to drive 120 miles to another airport in Harrisburg somewhere to get on the jet big enough to go in it. And he was hot about it. He said, this is why I said we didn't need to bring these teams in.
Yeah.
Because the airport near Penn State won't take that great big airplane, can't land and take off because the runway's not long enough.
Wow.
And think of the cost of all this going. I don't think anybody thought about this.
Wait a second. Basketball's going to have to do it.
Yes.
Baseball's going to have to do it. Softball's going to have to do it. They're all going to have to do it.
Guys, there's just some things that just don't make sense. And this is one of them.
Yeah,
and the reason it's all done, nobody thought about basketball.
Nope.
Nobody thought about baseball. Nobody thought about all these others. It's all
money
football.
for the football.
That's it. So
All
we
right.
better pay the bills.
All right. What else is going on?
Coach Prime at home.
I saw an
4-point dog.
article.
Kansas State.
Guy writes an article, says that Colorado is going to be in the playoffs with a 10-2 record.
No.
And I'm like, how does he get this? I mean, I don't see them.
I don't think their conference is strong enough for that to happen.
I don't either.
8.
But I think they can
They
beat
win
Kansas State at Colorado tonight.
They'll win 8 games, but they're not going to make it to the playoffs.
No, but
I don't
they
think
can beat Kansas
I
State
don't
tonight.
think they beat Kansas State. Kansas State, I think, is going to win that conference.
They might. But I think Colorado will be tough tonight.
I think Kansas State will be the team that wins that conference.
Yeah.
Because that defense was terrible last year. And I will say this, Dion has got them better. They're not good, but they're better than they were a year ago.
Guys, we're running a little over, and we still got NFL to talk about.
All
Are
right.
you excited about the NFL, Bill?
Well, you're going to get 2 in a row.
Well,
Got a chance.
let's take another break and hear from Kincaid,
Service.
Company.
where Service is their middle name, and First Bank here in Shelbyville. We'll be right back to talk a little NFL and wind things up.
Company is a locally owned family business that has proudly served the Middle Tennessee area since 1934. We have a wide selection of furniture, appliances, electronics, and mattresses for every budget and design taste. We carry the brands that you know and trust, so you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Need financing? We have you covered. With our service department, you can rest assured that we will take care of you after the purchase. Visit our Shelbyville store at 400 Madison Street today.
don't think he's our.
He's still young.
All right, we're sitting here talking about Titans and the Colts. Bill, what's your insiders talking about these days?
Well, better hope Richardson's a quarterback and it's Flacco, guys. If it's Richardson, we got a puncher's chance. But they've always got a chance because we have Will Levis.
I think the Titans will be okay.
There's a betting pool started. How many points is Levis giving the opposing team this week?
None.
None?
None.
I'll say a pick six or a fumble pick scoop and score.
I'll have to see a game where he doesn't do it to believe he's not going to do
I
it.
bet he has no turnovers.
Well, the Titans probably.
He said, I bet.
None.
You won't talk to him a little bit after this show?
No,
Well,
turnovers.
I don't bet. I say he has no turnovers.
Okay.
Like that Miami game, that linebacker was wide open.
Why do I say he's going to have no turnovers? Because Callahan is going to put him in situations that go, hey, hand the ball off, hand the ball off, hand the ball off.
But you got to score.
Indy's defense is one of the worst in the league stopping the run.
They are.
And I
They got a lot of injuries.
And I think Tennessee's going to use that to their advantage. And then I think you're going to see some things where you talk about get the ball out. I just think don't put him in situations where he can be successful.
Are you predicting the Titans are going to win?
Yes.
I'll agree with that because I think they're so beat up. Michael Pittman's not playing. Taylor's not playing
the other
for the
day
Colts.
when they played the Dolphins and y'all didn't. Yeah.
Well, Levis got hurt. Levis got hurt, and we were able to win a ball game.
There you go. But I foresaw that.
But when he threw to that linebacker in that Miami game, that interception, and you could see on TV, he says, "I never saw him." Oh my goodness, you didn't see him? Did he get some glasses or something? Because you threw it right to him.
Well, is Rudolph healthy?
Yeah, Rudolph's healthy.
Okay, well.
But at some point, do you really? And I agree with doing this.
Simmons will be back.
Well,
if we did go with Rudolph and you win 8 or 9 games, does it matter? I just assume go on with Levis, see what you got, and go 3-13 and have.
Because you're not making the playoffs.
You're not getting
in our division.
No,
I mean, it's not.
Now, if you don't win Sunday, it's going to get nasty quick. Because this is the last chance for a win for a minute. Schedule gets really a lot harder.
All right, guys, it's going to be interesting to watch tomorrow. What your Packers doing? They off?
Arizona.
Arizona's
playing good football right now.
But you should handle
Arizona. Well, Arizona beat San Francisco.
Playing good football.
They're playing good ball. Let's hope I think they're getting a little healthy. They still got some guys down.
All right. You talking about San Francisco? What's the update on Christian McCaffrey? He's on the injury reserve. He's got what? 2 more weeks?
2 more weeks, I believe.
All right, 2 more weeks, and he's coming back from what is his situation?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's coming back at all.
I don't know.
Tendonitis in his ankle. I mean,
he's got several things wrong.
Yeah,
that's going to be interesting to watch. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL.
And it could be the possibility of what I call overused.
Yeah,
overused. I mean, you think how much they relied on him.
That's why it's hard to pay up the running back that big money.
Yeah,
anybody.
You got a London game tomorrow, Jags and the Bears in the morning, 8:30 in the morning. I know you'll be up watching that.
Hey, what about? Let's go with the big game, the Jets. After they get rid of their coach.
And do you see who they hired as their offensive coordinator?
The guy that used to be at the Titans.
Oh, the worst OC in the history of the National Football League.
What was
Todd Downing.
And who are they playing?
And you're going to get Aaron Rodgers better with Todd Downing.
And they're playing the Bills.
Hey, Aaron Rodgers.
What's it going to look like if they beat the Bills and get using another Titan?
I tell you who your offensive coordinator is. It's not Downing. He's going to be holding the clipboard.
It's Rodgers.
Rodgers is your offensive coordinator at this point.
He's pretty sharp.
Now, the big thing in the NFL will be where does Devontae Adams go? And I think he's going somewhere this week. Now, where does he go?
Well, Rodgers wants him. Do you think the Jets
I don't know if the Jets have the cap space for it unless the Raiders eat some of the money. I don't see how that's going to work. The place that would be interesting to me is the Commanders.
Has he got any
gas? Skins.
Has he got any gas left in the tank? I think he does.
I think he does too.
In the right situation.
Well, I mean, look how much he hadn't played the last couple of years.
I know. All right, guys.
Let me say this about the Commanders. Is anybody as impressed with Daniels, the rookie quarterback, as I am?
Yes,
this kid, he looks like a veteran.
Yeah, he's doing good. But this is that rookie season. Yeah. Next year will tell the tale.
Because everybody will have an opportunity to study him.
You sort of see that with the Houston quarterback, as good as he was last year. Yeah. Teams have figured him out second year a little bit.
Always.
Yes.
Always.
Levis looked a whole lot better last year in his games than he does this year.
Same thing's going to happen with Jordan Love. At Green Bay, they saw what he did last year. They're going to scheme a little different.
Guys, we got to get out of here. We want to thank our sponsors again. Kincaid,
Service.
Company.
or Service is their middle name, and First Bank here in Shelbyville.
Again, big games this week.
Yes.
Cascade Soccer, Tuesday night, home 6 o'clock. Shelbyville, senior night, Friday night, last time.
Home game.
Last home game.
Last home game.
Senior night.
A lot of stuff.
Show driving show Tuesday. Player interviews.
Right. Player interviews.
I'm not sure what Cascade and Community
Community's
have.
got Giles County.
Yeah.
I know, and Cascade I know is on the road.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll be back again, same place, same time next week to talk some county sports, college